Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Last time I left off with blasting German bombers on the Red Front. Sorry if I seem a little off in this video. I'm not feeling the greatest, but I wanted to make sure I got this content out for you guys. So here it says, the 5th Army enters Naples, October 1st, 1943. A great fort falls. Led by British tanks, the 5th Army entered the southern part on the morning of October 1st, to find the harbor full of sunken ships and the city devastated, as shown in the picture, where row on row of wrecked buildings line the battered railroad tracks and adjacent roadway, my bad. So we can see the roadway here. But yeah, we can see all the buildings heavily bombed and things like that. This probably would have been done by the Allied attacks on the city to try to dislodge the enemy from the town. More enemy U-boats and E-boats sunk. October 1943, attacks by British light craft. On October 10th, Mr. Churchill and President Roosevelt stated that until the 3rd week of September, no Allied ship was lost by German U-boat attack. The lull was broken, however, on September 19th, when a pack of about 15 U-boats attacked a westbound convoy. There was a running fight lasting 4.5 days, and 3 escort vessels were sunk, besides a few merchant ships. A large number of submarines were sunk, however, as a result of vigorous surface and air counterattacks. Increased fighter protection was being used by our convoys, and motor gunboats were helping to make their passage even safer. These ships are both fast, being able to attain a speed of 50 miles per hour, and very heavily armed for their size. These little ships scored a notable victory on October 24th when 30 E-boats made an attack. 30 E-boats made an attempt to waylay a convoy in the North Sea. They were engaged by MGBs in a running fight which lasted nearly 5 hours. None of our ships were lost, while 4 of the enemy were sunk and 6 damaged. Top left shows the return of an MGBs with German prisoners. Yeah, getting the prisoners is a pretty decent prize, so they're probably very happy about that. Bottom left shows survivors of the crew of a merchant ship torpedoed by an enemy submarine. The photograph was taken from a United States naval blimp, which dropped a rubber life dinghy seen in the picture. I believe it's supposed to be implied that this is it, or maybe that's the dinghy. I'm not sure, but yeah, those guys aren't having a good day, but at least they got some help. Hopefully they were able to be picked up pretty soon there. And then above shows a direct hit by a German dive bomber on an American convoy carrying ship. Now we can see direct hit, big explosion. Anyone on that ship is probably either now in the water or very injured or very deceased. The women of Russia pitch in. October 1943. Attempt to balk the Germans. In the picture at the top, a woman of Rostov aids her menfolk in taking up the streetcar rails in an effort to barricade the city against the Germans. And in the picture below, women of the Cossack village of Tismalensk on the southern front carrying huge bundles as they return to their former homes, many of which were wrecked during the fierce fighting of the 1943 campaign. So yeah, they're making sure to point out the women of Russia did a very admirable job of pitching in and doing as much work as they can in this war. A study in gray on the blue Pacific. October 2nd, 1943. A battle wagon speaks out. An overcast sky mirrored by a late leaden sea forms a fitting background for the grim song voiced by the main batteries of this United States battleship. Clouds of dark gray smoke billow out as the 16-inch guns on this ship of the South Dakota class fire away. You can see the giant guns here. Yeah, it would be kind of crazy to just imagine the sound that you're hearing from this. These things are huge guns. And they would be producing some major sound here, which would be kind of neat to hear. The Americans returned to Wake Island. October 5th to 6th, 1943. Destruction from the air. In this striking aerial photograph, the thorough and merciless pounding of Wake Island, once a U.S. stronghold in the Pacific, is clearly revealed during the return appearance of United States forces on October 5th and 6th, 1943. Silhouetted against the clouds, a Douglas Dauntless dive bomber from a Navy plane carrier task force is poised to begin its plunge on the smoking outpost, releasing another 1,000-pound bomb to add to the destruction of the Japanese-occupied island, which had been held by the foe since December 24th, 1941. The raid upon Wake Island was particularly harassing to the Japanese ever since they had wrested it away from the United States Marines. After a 16-day fight, the enemy had been strengthening the island as an airplane base. So yeah, they're going to try to do everything they can to dislodge the enemy from this. And so some of this would be, obviously dropping bombs on it, because it helps soften them up before you put troops into the field. Another Mediterranean base in Allied hands. October 5th, 1943. Corsica freed from German rule. Before the Italian armistice was signed, about 15,000 Corsican patriots were secretly armed by the Allies. On September 8th, when the news of an Italian surrender was received, there was a general rising. Vichy officials were arrested in almost all towns and villages. There were clashes with German troops in the mountains near Sartène, and the enemy was forced to withdraw to Bastia and Boniface. General Giard broadcast a message to the German high command in Corsica, declaring that anyone wearing a white brassard on his arm, embroidered with the Moor's head, part of the arms of Corsica, must be considered as regular soldier of the French army and not treated as an armed civilian if captured. By September 21st, the western half of Corsica was in French hands. German bases on the island, including the important airfield of Bastia, were heavily bombed by the Allied forces. The food shortage, already very serious, was further intensified when the Germans set fire to about 1,000 acres of crops and farmsteads. By October 5th, the enemy was finally cleared from Corsica. The recapture of Corsica was important not only because it was to be used by the enemy as a U-boat base, but it gave the Allies an important base for air and amphibious operations. This photograph shows remains of German war material at Bastia on Corsica after the enemy had left the island. So yeah, we can see not much left here. This town was heavily bombed. And yeah, it's good because Corsica, an important spot, it gives, like they said, a lot of room for aerial and naval or amphibious assaults. So I'm sure the Allies are very happy that they got this. But with that, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Tell me what I can improve on. I always appreciate your feedback. And as always, subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Thank you.